Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today on this Monday, April 20th, 2015. Joining me in the studio now is LeeAnn McAdoo. And LeeAnn, the article that was up at the top of the Drudge Report earlier today was this new book about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton as well, called Clinton Cash. She's been trying to appear to be one of the people. She went to Chipotle and got her picture taken at the Chipotle. Of course, nobody recognized her, so the staff went in there and got the security footage and showed it to the press. But anyway, so that's kind of sparked off this whole competition with Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush trying to be a more common man, trying to relate to us through going to Chipotle and getting fast food, I guess.
Right.
But now this is pretty much going to be fatal to her, I think. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think people in the Democrat Party are really getting fed up with it because that's one thing they don't like to see is somebody that's really milking the system. However, she is a woman.
Right.
So we should vote for her no matter how corrupt.
Yes. Once again, Hillary Clinton is the poor victim here. It's not that she's been corrupt and, giving out friends with benefits type thing here through her State Department with some of these foreign entities. But she's basically saying that this book is just, it's just more partisan politics and that it's all conspiracy theories and things like that. But the author of this book goes into really great detail and meticulously sources everything that all the claims that he's bringing forth in this book. So this isn't something that she can just brush off as a conspiracy theory.
Now, Rand Paul had talked about it, said he thought it was going to be pretty devastating. The New York Times actually got a copy of it yesterday. They wrote an article yesterday based on an advanced copy that they got of it, and they've got some clips in it. Let's play the comment from Rand Paul, though. Everybody is laughing at Hillary. She's essentially becoming a caricature. I mean, you've even got Saturday Night Live taking hits at her. That can be pretty devastating. I remember when they did that to Gerald Ford, playing up the idea that he was constantly falling over things or hitting his head on things, and they basically made a laughing stock of him. Hillary, on the other hand, is somebody that is obviously very hungry for power. She is courting this power from the most powerful of the financial community, and that's not going to sit well with a lot of people in her party. But this is what Rand Paul had to say.
I'm starting to worry that when Hillary Clinton travels, there's going to need to be two planes, one for her and her entourage and one for her baggage. I'm concerned that the plane with the baggage is really getting heavy and teetering.
Yeah, I think basically he was using that baggage as a double entendre. Not just about her vast personal wealth, which she said that, she really struggled when they left the White House.
They were dead broke, just like us.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, there was another article on the Drudge Report. By one measure, Hillary earned more than America's top 10 CEOs. And that one measure was, what does she make per hour? Well, she makes about $300,000 per hour. She gets $300,000 for a 1-hour speech. And so they say, well, if you look at what the top 10 CEOs make and you break that down per hour, you've got the number 2 guy making $63,000 an hour. You've got the second best paid CEO on the Forbes list gets $32,000. The third one down gets $31,000 an hour. I think that's pretty excessive compensation. I don't know how anybody is worth that much in any corporation. I mean, that's just robbery. But Hillary Clinton makes $300,000 per hour.
Right.
Okay.
Going to colleges to champion how students need to not be saddled there with debt from their schooling, and it's going to pay for people like her to come speak for
exactly. Student funds. These what they're having to pay is going to go to Hillary Clinton, and she lectures them on turning over all their money.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the Clintons' income was at least $136.5 million from 2001 to 2012, according to this book. So yeah, dead broke.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is that we're getting these elections where it's going like $2 billion, for the candidates to go through there. They buy a lot of media. The media is for sale. And we should really question, though, what they're getting for this. As I mentioned before, H.L. Mencken said an election is an advanced auction of stolen goods. She's getting a lot of money from foreign corporations And of course, he points out that those foreign corporations, when they gave money to the Clinton Foundation, they got favorable treatment at the State Department. So the guy who wrote this book, Clinton Cash, The Untold Story of How and Why Foreign Governments and Businesses Helped to Make Bill and Hillary Rich. That could be really devastating to her.
Right. And again, it's not that there's this dynasty and that Americans just want to vote for this dynasty. They continue to choose the Bushes and the Clintons because their track record is proven. They will consistently vote for the policies that are going to put more money in the pockets of their rich, wealthy friends and corporations. So that's a business. Businesses, they don't take risks when they're betting. So the Clintons and the Bushes are, a solid
it's a huge
bet.
return on investment.
Right.
If you go back and you look at the money that corporations give to these politicians and then the kind of contracts that they get in return, they can't do any better investment. And that's essentially the problem. You're never going to be able to stop this by legislation. You're going to have to remove the power and the money out of Washington.
Right.
Because otherwise it is this black hole for power, for corruption, and no matter it creates this gravitational force that is going to pull the corruption in no matter what you do. So you're going to have to take away that consolidated mass there. One of the things they pointed out in the New York Times article was that in 2010, there was $1 million, they said there was $1 million in this book, they point out, in payments to Clinton by a Canadian bank and a major shareholder in the Keystone Pipeline.
Right.
Now, one of the things that we see, and I mentioned earlier, Clinton was a huge backer of NAFTA. He sold it to everybody as something that was going to create jobs. Instead, it eviscerated jobs, especially manufacturing jobs in this country. But we see that Keystone Pipeline, for example, they have given the Canadian company that is running this thing, they have given them the rights of eminent domain where they can condemn land in America, take land from farmers that have had it in their family for over 100 years, and giving that condemnation power to a foreign corporation. That's what NAFTA looks like. That's what TPP looks like. And the way they get it is by buying influence with people like the Clintons, like the Bushes. And we ought to understand that this is not just a Hillary problem. There's another article here. Jeb Bush funneled $2 billion in Florida pension funds to his brother's pioneer donors. These are people who donated so much money that they got pioneer status. They were bundlers, okay? They would bundle this money together. And I don't really understand the nuances of the election law. I don't understand how what they did as a bundler is different from what Dinesh D'Souza did when he went to jail, okay? He was just naively trying to participate in the process. These guys, though, they go through, they understand the laws because they wrote them. So he's got 11 firms that received new Florida pension investments under Jeb Bush that were all pioneer backers of his brother when he ran for president. So it happens with both parties, and especially with these two royal families.
Right, absolutely. And here, we see these big donors, if their guy gets into the presidency, they'll end up getting these cushy jobs. Maybe they'll be the ambassador to some small country or something like that. So of course, when you have foreign donors, they're expecting a little bit of kickback as well. And a lot of the countries, Rand Paul is pointing out, if there's really a war on women, well, why don't you return some of the money from Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, or Brunei, where people there are being murdered for being gay, or for beheadings.
There's a real war on women.
Imprisonment for women.
Yeah, there's a real war on women. It's not a metaphorical war on women. There is a real war on women in Saudi Arabia. Of course, there are close allies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're the worst of the worst when it comes to human rights ranking. They're again and again the worst of the worst. And so that's what it is. We'll give you millions of dollars. I think it was like $7.3 million from Saudi Arabia from 1999 till 2014. So millions of dollars funneling in. And it's almost like we're going to give you all this money so that you'll look away from what we're doing to the people of our own country. And, because typically we would be putting economic sanctions against these countries with these atrocious human rights records, but not Saudi Arabia, not the United Arab Emirates, not Brunei.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's amazing. It'll be interesting to look at this in greater detail. As I pointed out, this is an article, New York Times. You'll find that linked on the Drudge Report. The book is Clinton Cash, The Untold Story of How and Why Foreign Governments and Businesses Helped to Make Bill and Hillary Rich. Yeah, they were rich. They were not just scraping by, she pointed out, when they came out. But I thought it was also interesting that this phony position that she's got going on. At the same time, all this is the reality of Hillary Clinton. The persona that she's trying to project is she's going across the country in this silly little van episode, and she goes into a Chipotle and she has her picture taken. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio have to join in the gang, okay? And they have to go in to Chipotle and say, I do tip, because she got criticized for not tipping, okay? The guy said, oh, yeah, I remember her. Yeah, they didn't leave any money and everything. So Marco Rubio goes in and says, no, I always tip. And then he had to walk that back because when he talked to the guy that was with him, his staff, he says, well, no, we didn't, but we typically always tip. That kind of stuff. And then Jeb Bush says, well, I drive to Chipotle myself. Yeah, because Hillary Clinton says that she hasn't driven since 1996, okay?
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm not an elitist. Being a member of the Bush family, I drive to Chipotle myself. I pick the stuff up, and I drive it home, and I eat it, okay? The reality is that George H.W. Bush, I remember when the guy was campaigning for president, and he went to a grocery store, and he was absolutely stunned by the barcode reader. He had never seen one. He'd never been in a grocery store or any place to go shopping. These guys don't drive themselves.
Right.
They don't shop for themselves. They don't go into any of these restaurants or whatever, except when they're campaigning. It is the most phony thing you can imagine.
It's like when Gwyneth Paltrow just tried to be so noble, and she said, I'm going to try and live off like what people on welfare do. I'm going to go to the grocery store with just $29, and she bought all of this
Organic
stuff that clearly shows how out of touch she is with the average person who is shopping on welfare. I think she lasted about 2 days with all of her limes and greens and everything.
Somebody that's shopping on welfare with a $29 a week budget, they're going to be buying stuff like ramen noodles.
Exactly.
They're going to be buying
Milk,
high-end organic
eggs.
vegetables. And that's one of the reasons why we've got the obesity issues that we've got in here. But they're going to have to buy the ultra cheapest food, and that's going to be loaded with all kinds of toxic preservatives and fillers, and it's basically Soylent Green, but it comes in a variety of different colors.
Yeah, tons of flavors. Well, and I got to give it to Rand Paul, because that's one thing that I do appreciate about him, is that he rather than following what the reporters are choosing to speak about, which is Hillary Clinton at Chipotle. So rather than jumping on that little bandwagon, he's been getting out ahead of them and spinning the normal narrative around, where it's usually only Republicans and things are going to be asked about their stance on abortion. And he got right out there and made this huge thing about, well, why don't you ask the Democratic Party about if they think life starts, or if they think it's okay to kill a 7-pound baby.
And that's the key thing. Talking about a 7-pound baby, not talking about the term, not talking about some kind of abstract thing about, well, philosophically, when does life begin? I remember when I ran for Congress as a Libertarian Party candidate, and it was really kind of just a paper candidacy, but I participated in some debates. And I remember people asking me about that, and I had never really thought about abortion. I never had to think about it personally. And I remember when I looked up, partial birth abortion was the issue at that point in time, and I said, okay. I realized at that point that it was I realized that it wasn't about a dispute as to when life began. They were willing to kill full-term babies, and that was the key with what Rand Paul said.
Right.
When he said, would you kill a 7-pound baby?
Yeah.
People can relate to that.
He said nobody went out and asked, no journalist went and asked Hillary Clinton how she felt about late-term abortions while she was out talking about her daughter about to give birth.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was a Republican, if the tables were turned, it would be a completely different opportunity for them to say, well, late-term abortions, I mean, this could be Chelsea, and nobody went there with Clinton. So once again, we're probably going to see no one going there with Clinton on these donations.
Yeah, we got that clip. Let's play that clip.
We always seem to have the debate way over here on what are the exact details of exemptions or when it starts. Why don't we ask the DNC, is it okay to kill a 7-pound baby in the uterus?
And they did that. And when they talked to her, she said she wouldn't back down from that. She would kill a 7-pound baby. And that's what I realized when I took a look at this for the first time. And I realized what their real agenda was. And it changed my mind on that. It's one of the things that was really important that came out of me getting involved in that process at that time. I think Rand Paul has been an absolute master so far in terms of the way that he has put this stuff out, and in terms of addressing vital issues that other people completely avoid.
Right.
I am just absolutely stunned, however, that he has been in full court press for this Trans-Pacific Partnership. he and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and all these people who want to run as Republicans for presidential candidate, they are all signing on to this agreement that is being negotiated by corporate lawyers in secret that we're not allowed to see. And it just absolutely amazes me that, and I understand it's a difficult thing for a Republican to come up and say, I oppose this free trade agreement, when they put it out there as a free trade agreement. But you have to get ahead of that, and you have to say that it is not free trade, just like the Patriot Act is not patriotic. They put these labels on, and they try to put you in a corner, but real leadership is going to come out there and stand up for American sovereignty and for the American economy. And we know how this is played out with NAFTA. We know that 20 years after, Petraeus and others are saying America is finished. We no longer have America.
Right.
We have North America. That's what they're saying. And if you understand that's their mindset, then the open borders makes absolute total sense. And it makes sense as to why the Republicans won't do anything about open borders either.
Absolutely. And it also, you know, it also sort of seems like they are expecting that it is the end of America when you have people like Rand Paul, who has been very outspoken against fast tracking the TPP, and now he's kind of made an about face.
Yeah, he did.
Obviously, a lot of things have been happening with China and Russia, and them opening their new banking system and everything. So they know we've got to make this pivot to Asia. But why can't we know what it means for America? How do we know it's good for America if we don't actually know what's in it?
Really disturbs me. Well, LeeAnn is going to be anchoring the nightly news tonight, so join us then. And I'm probably going to step in a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic Partnership. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and joining me is LeeAnn McAdoo. We're going to go back, and she has a couple more things to say about this Hillary Clinton, Clintons for Cash, I guess is what they ought to call it, but it's Clinton Cash is the name of the book. We're going to go back to that in just a moment. Just want to let you know, as we're talking about the economic hardships that we're seeing in Greece, as I mentioned, we've seen this happen in Venezuela. They will shut down the country, but they will pay the banks first. We saw it happen in Venezuela, where the Marxists did it, and the bankers got 700% return on their investment. We see that it's happening now in Greece. It will happen here if push comes to shove. Now, we were just talking about this book. It looks like it's going to be pretty revealing. But we have an article up on Infowars.com, Hookers for Hillary. These are people that are in the Nevada
The Bunny Ranch.
Bunny Ranch, which basically is legal prostitution in Nevada. It's illegal, I think, in Las Vegas, but in the state it's legal. And they're saying one of the reasons that these Hillarys, these hookers, one of the reasons that they support her is because of her stance on foreign policy. They say that's one of the reasons they've endorsed her. And of course, endorsing her for foreign policy really is saying that she's really one of their own, because she has offered herself essentially as a prostitute to these foreign governments, giving money to her foundation.
Has Bill Clinton been collecting the donations from the Bunny Ranch in person?
I don't know.
I mean, are they his?
Could be. Well, one of the things they said, that I'll stick by any woman that stands by her man in a cheating relationship so that she can further her career. There you go. I mean, she's furthering her career no matter what happens, and she's getting money from these foreign governments no matter what happens. I mean, she basically is. She's not really selling herself. She's selling us, which is really the bad thing. I mean, so I guess you would call her not necessarily a hooker, but she would be a pimp. She's selling us into slavery. And
she's selling us on the idea of selling ourselves. Yeah. She is pimping us out. So it's apropos that there is now a Hookers for Hillary group. But she wants us to believe that the idea that taking tens of millions of dollars from foreign governments, the idea that we would somehow be influenced by those donations is preposterous. For us to even accuse her of this is just an absurd conspiracy theory, is what her campaign is saying. And they know that this at least gives the appearance of corruption, because just last week, the foundation revised their policy of where they're going to be able to be taking in these foreign donations. They're still going to be getting them from countries like Germany, Canada, the Netherlands, and Britain, but they will prohibit giving by other nations in the Middle East.
So they admit right there that they know that it's wrong. Thank you so much, LeeAnn McAdoo. She'll be doing the nightly news tonight, and I'll probably be joining her as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Alex Jones. Most of you know me from my syndicated radio program and my documentary films, as well as Infowars Nightly News. When I got on air 20 years ago, I had discovered the globalist program, their plan to take over the world and install a corporate fascist state. I had read their own books, discovered their own documents, and my focus went from running 6 miles every other day, swimming 2-3 miles a couple times a week, and lifting weights, to focusing on fighting the globalist. I transformed my body from the beautiful gift that God gave me into something more akin to Jabba the Hutt. It became an internet joke. But now I've started the transformation back to getting my body, my temple in shape, and I'm about to tell you how I did it. I've gone from 279 pounds all the way down to 235 pounds, and the weight's going off even faster. I started taking Super Male Vitality and saw incredible results in just a few weeks. The problem was, though, I'd never been a vitamin and mineral and supplement taker before, so I kept forgetting to do it. So after I'd lost over 60 pounds, just a month and a half ago, I asked the crew to take a photo of me in the same lighting to see what I could do in just a month and a half. This is what happened in just 45 days. We took this photo back there in the back office, and I'd already lost a lot of weight, but I lost another 6 pounds with the Oxy powder and the other products at InfoWarsLife.com, and this photo was just taken a few days ago. And it wasn't just that my weight loss accelerated. My muscle mass increased, my stamina, my energy levels exploded. Super Male has the key concentrated natural compounds that my body needed to go to the next level. Today is the day to take the InfoWarsLife.com challenge and to secure your bottle of Super Male or Super Female Vitality. We've got to get our temple straight before we can go out and fight the globalist, and that's what these products have helped me do. Check them out today at InfoWarsLife.com, or give our crew a call. They can answer all your questions or tell you about any of the specials at 888-253-3139.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today on this Monday, April 20th, 2015. Joining me in the studio now is LeeAnn McAdoo. And LeeAnn, the article that was up at the top of the Drudge Report earlier today was this new book about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton as well,
Right.
called Clinton Cash. She's been trying to appear to be one of the people. She went to Chipotle and got her picture taken at the Chipotle. Of course, nobody recognized her, so the staff went in there and got the security footage and showed it to the press. But anyway, so that's kind of be pretty devastating. I remember when they did that to Gerald Ford, playing up the idea that he was constantly falling over things or hitting his head on things, and they basically made a laughing stock of him. Hillary, on the other hand, is somebody that is obviously very hungry for power. She is courting this power from the most powerful of the financial community, and that's not going to sit well with a lot of people in her party. But this is what Rand Paul had to say.
I'm starting to worry that when Hillary Clinton travels, there's going to need to be 2 planes, one for her and her entourage and one for her baggage. I'm concerned that the plane with the baggage is really getting heavy and teetering.
Yeah, I think basically he was using that baggage as a double entendre. Not just about her vast personal wealth, which she said that, she really struggled when they left the White House.
They were dead broke, just like us.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, there was another article on the Drudge Report. By one measure, Hillary earned more than America's top 10 CEOs, and that one measure was, what does she make per hour? Well, she makes about $300,000 per hour. She gets $300,000 for a 1-hour speech. And so they say, well, if you look at what the top 10 CEOs make and you break that down per hour, you've got the number 2 guy making $63,000 an hour. You've got the second best pay. Have sparked off this whole competition with Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush trying to be a more common man, trying to relate to us through going to Chipotle and getting fast food, I guess.
Right.
But now this is pretty much going to be fatal to her, I think. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think people in the Democrat Party are really getting fed up with it because that's one thing they don't like to see is somebody that's really milking the system. However, she is a woman.
Right.
So we should vote for her no matter how corrupt.
Yes. Once again, Hillary Clinton is the poor victim here. It's not that she's been corrupt and, giving out friends with benefits type thing here through her State Department with some of these foreign entities. But she's basically saying that this book is just it's just more partisan politics and that it's all conspiracy theories and things like that. But the author of this book goes into really great detail and meticulously sources everything that all the claims that he's bringing forth in this book. So this isn't something that she can just brush off as a conspiracy theory.
Now, Rand Paul had talked about it, said he thought it was going to be pretty devastating. The New York Times actually got a copy of it yesterday. They wrote an article yesterday based on an advanced copy that they got of it, and they've got some clips in it. Let's play the comment from Rand Paul, though. Everybody is laughing at Hillary. She's essentially becoming a caricature. I mean, you've even got Saturday Night Live taking hits at her. That can